Hi everyone, in this video we'll be learning about an important result that we need to know when studying Venn diagrams. More specifically, what we'll learn about here involves the overlap region, or simply the intersection, of two sets in a Venn diagram. And to learn about this result, we're going to be working through the example that we see here, in which we're told, in a group of 50 students, 27 study Spanish, 29 study French, and 2 study neither. We're then told to show this information in a Venn diagram. Okay, well the idea here is we start with a large rectangle for our Venn diagram, something looking like this. There we go, that represents the universal set, which I'll label with a capital U, like so. Now in this context, that capital U, or rather this universal set, represents the 50 students that we're dealing with. Remember, we were told that we were dealing with a group of 50 students. Next, since we're told that 27 students study Spanish and 29 study French, I'll create 2 sets inside my Venn diagram, one like this, and another one like this. And I'll label the first one here capital S for Spanish, and the second one capital F for French. And as such, the rule of the game here is we need to indicate on our Venn diagram how many people fall inside each part of this Venn diagram. First of all, I like to get rid of the obvious ones. We're told that 2 students don't study French, nor do they study Spanish. So right off the bat, I can go ahead and say I'll write a 2 here. Next, if I look at the fact that there are 27 students studying Spanish and 29 studying French, well, where do I write those numbers? And a common mistake, it would be to say, okay, well 27 study Spanish, so I'll write that there, and 29 study French, so I write that there. But again, that would be a mistake. And to convince you of that fact, if we go ahead and add these 3 numbers, 2, 27, and 29, you'll see that we'll get a number which is bigger than 50, which simply isn't possible since there are 50 students in total. And so what's actually happening here, and what we need to figure out, is that there are some students who study both Spanish and French, and so they would lie in this overlap region, or the intersection of these 2 sets. But how many students does that concern? And so here's the idea. I'll go ahead and erase what we did here, 27 and 29, and I'll start over. Since I don't know how many students lie in the intersection here, in other words, how many students study both French and Spanish, I'll go ahead and simply say that there are X students there. And so I write a little X like so. Next, since I know that there are 27 students who study Spanish, and that includes the X students we have here, there must be 27 minus X students who study Spanish and nothing but Spanish, since X students study Spanish and French. In a similar way, I can take care of this part of the Venn diagram using the fact that there are 29 students who study French, and so there will therefore be 29 minus X students who study French and not Spanish. Okay, we're nearly there. To figure out what X is, we now use the fact that all of the numbers we have here have to add up to 50. The total number of students we had. And so writing out that calculation, we'll have 27 minus x plus 29 minus x plus the 2 students who don't study French nor do they study Spanish, so plus 2, and all of that has to add up to 50. Now gathering all of these terms together, we have 27 plus 29, which is 56, plus 2, which gives us 58, and for the x's, we have negative x plus x, so that's 0, minus x. So we end up with 58 minus x on the left-hand side. So that's 58 minus x equals to 50. I now solve this equation for x, and to do that, I'll subtract 58 from both sides of that equation, which quickly leads us to negative x equals to 50 minus 58, which is negative 8, and if negative x equals to negative 8, well, x must equal to 8. And we now know how many students study both French and Spanish. And so thanks to this result, we can now quickly find how many students study Spanish but not French, as well as how many students study French but not Spanish. Indeed, here we'll have 27 minus 8, so that will be 19. And here we'll have 29 minus 8, which will be 21. And of course, the number of students who study both Spanish and French is 8. And so as a final answer, if we were to make a brand new Venn diagram, I'll do that down here, we could draw something like this. Again, I've got my universal set. I draw 2 sets which intersect or overlap. That one would be S for Spanish, F for French, and we can write our final answer. So we have 19 students here, 8 students here, and 21 students there, and finally 2 students that neither study French nor Spanish. And there we go! Of course, we should check that all of these numbers do indeed add up to 50, and so if we quickly do that, we have 2 plus 19, which is 21, plus 8 is 29, plus 21 is indeed 50, which, remember, was the number of students we were given in the first place. And there we go. Now hopefully you understood the reasoning here. I didn't know how many people were in the intersection, so I simply called that amount x. From there on, we could complete our Venn diagram in terms of x, as we did here, and then use the fact that the total of all the numbers on our Venn diagram had to add up to 50. That allowed us to find what x had to be, and therefore it allowed us to draw our Venn diagram. But I'll finish this video by showing you a quick trick to find this number 8 right away. And here's the whole idea. From the very beginning, we knew there had to be 50 students. But if we add up the number of students we're given here, 27 plus 29 plus 2, well, you can go ahead and check, but 27 plus 29 plus 2 is equal to 58. And comparing this 58 to the 50 students we knew of, we can see right away that 58 is 8 more. And what that tells us is that there must be 8 students in the intersection region, which is indeed what we found here. And so for our Venn diagram, we could have in fact quickly constructed it this way. I could have made a Venn diagram U with a set S and a set F, and right at the beginning I could have written 8 in the middle, like so. And so for this region here, since we knew that the total number of students studying Spanish had to be 27, we'd have 27 minus 8, which again is 19. And for this region here, well, since the total number of students studying French had to be 29, this region would be 29 minus 8, which of course is 21. And finally, we don't forget the 2 students that study neither French nor Spanish. And so I write that here. And there we go. That's a quick and easy way to figure out what the overlap region must be. Remember, these numbers added up to 58, which is 8 more than the 50 students we had, so the intersection had to be 8. Nevertheless, it's likely to be useful at one stage or another to know how to find the intersection region using the method we saw here. And there we go. I really hope that helped, and if it did, please hit like on this video, drop a comment down below, and even subscribe to the channel, because that really will help it reach as many students as possible. All that being said, that's it for this tutorial.